Hello friends, and welcome if you to our new video of our series Flutter 2.5 with extra features. Now, first of all, thank you for watching my channel. I do hope you support me by subscribing to my channel. If you do like this video, please hit the like button and hit the notification bell. Now, this video is a continuation of the previous video. In this video, the idea is what we will do. I have an application on it's on Google Play Store. In that application, a user, let's say a seller, have a shop, an office, a company, wish to register with my application. So what he will do, as a registration, will enter all the details of that shop, company, office, whatever. One of the details is the street name. Now, once the seller start to enter the details of that street, immediately we will connect to the Google Map database. Google Map database will start to search where is this address. Accordingly, it will provide us, return to us the address. When it finds it will return to us the latitude and the longitude of that address. We take this latitude and longitude, we persist in our database. Then later on, when any other, let's say a buyer wish to search for something or wish to search for that company, we fetch that latitude and longitude. We assign it in a provider, and this provider details we will use it in our application, in our widgets. For instance, in our map widget, so we can show the address of that shop or company or office or whatever. Okay, so this is the whole concept of what we are going to do. Now, this is a very flexible way, because we can not just search on one company as it is done usually when we search for a Google Map. We can persist hundreds of companies and shops, and we persist their data, and whenever we fetch them, we call them, we can find out their details or persisted in our database. So this is a more flexible way. Okay, so first thing comes first, let's see what APIs we going to need. Pardon me. What APIs we are going to need. Now, obviously, the first one is the provider package. Now, all these packages you could get in here. In the pub.dev, one of them is the provider. And then we need the DIO and HTTP also from the pub.dev you can get. Then we're going to need all those APIs. All of them we're going to need, and also all of them are available on the pub.dev. You can grab them there, get the link for how you can download them and put them in here, and then hit the pub.get so you can get them in your application. Okay, now once we have done this, this is the first step. Now the idea is like this. In our tutorial, let's say a seller, a shop or whatever wish to register with our application. So it will fill the shop name, company name, whatever, and also it will fill the address in these two text fields. Hit the save button. These two details will be persisted in our database. Later on, when we wish to search for that company or shop or whatever, then we can, let's see, we can get the name of that company, and also we can get the address of that company. The address of that company, that specific company, we can get their details as well as the location by fetching the latitude and the longitude and showing the address of it on the map, on the Google Map. So that's what we are going to do. So let's start first thing by adding a provider. Now in the app.dart, we wrap it with the app.dart, we wrap it with the a multi-provider. As you can see here, I'm wrapping it with a multi-provider. Now you can wrap it with just a provider, with one provider. It's also okay. Why I'm using multi-provider? Because sometimes your application requires multiple providers, so it is better if you can from the beginning, because it doesn't make any difference if you make it multi-provider class or just notifier provider class for one provider only. Both are the same, but in my case I'm using multi-provider because down the road we will use other providers, so I wish to add them. Now how you can add, these are the providers list. You can add whatever provider one after the other one. Now we know that there are many providers. You could go to the details here. There are many types of providers: change notifier provider, stream provider. So if you wish to add multiple provider, you could just add, let's say, stream provider, for instance, or different other providers. Okay, so here that's why I'm using a multi-provider, just in case down the road I will create another provider and I wish to use it and add it to my application. So the provider is, in my case, I'm using a change notifier provider, which takes a type. The type is the map provider. Now we will see where is this map provider from where and how we will create it. But in general, it will be, we will use a change notifier provider, not a stream provider, not other provider type. No, we will use a change notifier provider. This change notifier provider takes a type, which is a class, and we will create this class and we will see how we will create it. And then this is a required create, and then we will add the type that we will use it. That's how you could add a provider to your application. Okay, now let's move to the second step, which is at the home page. Now at the home page, to add the provider, this is a design of our home page. At the build, how we can add a provider to our widget. It's very simple. At the build of our widget, we use provider, which is from package provider, of. In here we add the type, also the map provider. We will see how we can create that type later on, and then the context, and then we give it a name. So here we will having an instance of this type provider. Now we are creating an instance that we will use it later on. We will see how, but this is how you can add a provider to any widget. It is by doing like so. At the build, provider.of, what is the name of provider class, and then you will get an instance of that provider, which you can apply it in the build of that widget. Okay, now what we will need with the design of this widget, what's going on we need with the design of this widget. Let me see the voice, if it's not been changed. Okay, it's not changed. First of all, since we are going to persist data, then we need a form key, a global key, which is a form state. That's the first thing. We need a form key because we will persist it as a form. This is a form of 2 text fields. So we need a global key. Next, we need 2 text field controllers, 1 controller for each text field, for this controller, for this controller. Then we create a method. This method will grab to us whatever changes that will happen in here. So this method, 1 method in here, and 1 method for the second text field. Now we go to the init. This is a stateful widget, so we go to the init, and then what we will do is that this controller of the first .add listener, and we grab the method that will give us the details. So we will listen to any changes that happen in this text, and the same thing for the text for the next controller .add listener and the method. Finish this, we go to the dispose. Once we finish both controllers and text field, then we need to dispose them. Okay, that's step. So let's see what else we need in this home page. Okay, in this home page we need 3 things. Of course, as we have said before, we need an instance of the provider type map provider. This class we will create later on. So we need an instance of it. We need 3 things. we need the address value, which is this text that the user will enter, and we need two double values, which is one for the latitude and one for the longitude. These two things, and it is better if we save these two values in a list. So we'll create a list and we will save those two values in that list. Now these two methods are very important methods, and we will talk about later, not now. These two methods are extremely important because these two methods will grab to us the latitude and the longitude from the Google Map database, and so we can use it. So these two methods we will talk about later, but not now, but just keep in mind. Okay, now let's come to the design of this page. Is just a normal page. It's just an app bar and container. This container contains contains a form. This is the form, and this form have a column. This column have two text fields, as we have said. The first text field is the name, the company name, shop name, whatever, and the second text field is what we are going to use much. Okay, this one is the important field. Now, whenever any changes happen in here, in the address, the location, the street name that the user will enter here, we need to connect to Google Map database, find that address, get the latitude and longitude, persist in the database. So the first step, it will happen in this text field. So we will use the instance of that provider that we have set earlier, dot search places, and we take this value. This value, of course, is the value that the user entered in here. So we want to take this value, put it in this search places method. We will see where this comes from, and then use the provider instance, the map provider instance, so we can search for that place, connect to Google Map database to search for that place. This is the first step that we will do. Now, all this talk about what we are going to do about the map, all this talk is available in this very important article by Google. It contains three things. The first step is the search. The second step is the details. Each place has a details. Each place has a details. These details consist of the place ID, as we have said in the previous video. You need to go and see that the place ID is a very important thing because it gives us the longitude and the latitude of that place. And there are some other details about that place that we are searching about, the fields, atmosphere, or the language, or the region. All these things are coming with the details. Of course, there is an example. There is an example. You could follow it. You can see these are the details that when we search any address, we get these details. One of them is the most important one, is the place ID, because the place ID gives us the latitude and the longitude. So all these details, we can use them or we can leave them. We don't want them. We could only get this one because this is the fruit of what we are doing. This is the most important thing. Other details, such as some description about that place, you will see the region or whatever, these are secondary, optional. But the only one that is important is this one, the place ID, where the latitude and the longitude reside. Okay, there is another thing, which is the third thing, which is the auto-completion. If you see when you search on a Google search, whenever you start typing, you see that there is a drop-down list with options comes with options like same as what you are searching for or look like what you are searching for. This is the autocomplete request. That's what happening when let's say when you start in here, search or enter your address, immediately when you start typing, you will see that there is a list coming, options, or let's say possibilities. What are the possibilities that almost same as what you are looking for? I'm sure that you have seen it in Google search engine. So this is what is the auto-completion. Now these three things, the search, the details, and the autocomplete, is the total process, that starts with this one. Start with the search. This is the search, is the first thing of the process, in the search field of the process. Okay? Let's check out the noise. Okay, it's so good. Okay, so now let's see from where we get this method, the search place. Now we know that we have a map provider instance. We'll take this method, search places. We take the value that the user entered in here, so we can search it with Google Map database. Let's start with the map provider. Okay, this is the first thing that we need to check it, the map provider. This is the class of the map provider. Here, the first thing that you will see that there is another class, which also we will see just in a minute. So keep in mind, this is another class. We are taking an instance of it. But this is the method, the search places method. This is the search places method, which is the method that we have used down. This is the method. This is the method, the search places method. So this method, what it will do, it will take an instance of this places service, and it gets a search autocomplete. You remember, we have just said now that there is a drop-down box come with options, with completing, with many addresses that looks like what we are searching for. So this method, what it will take an instance of this places service and take this method get search autocomplete, and we take the same value that we are searching, the same value that we are getting from this field. So this autocompleter will start showing us some possibilities, some options about the place that we are searching for. Okay, now let's move into this class now. This places service consists of the get search autocompleter method. Okay, so this map provider will use this class. This class has a method. We take the value in here and we start showing the autocompleter the options that are available that looks like the address we are searching for. So this is the place and this is the method. Now here in this place, in this class, what we are doing, we are searching the Google Map database. We are searching the Google Map database for this address that we have entered. Here is all the work that happens. Google Map database will start search for that place to find for us and accordingly return to us the latitude and the longitude of that place. So all these details in here is all the operation about searching that place, so we can get the result as a place ID, Remember the place ID? This is the thing that we need to get. here is the place ID. That's the most important thing. Okay, so either it's a place or places. In both cases we will use the get places, so we will get the latitude, longitude, and the place type of that search. This is the step of the get places or places service. But to do this, you need one very important thing, and that thing you need to do it on your own, because this is totally up to you, is that you need a key, an API key. Now, to use Google Map addresses, you need a key like this. This key, you can get it by going to this link on your Google account and create an API key. Now this you have to do it on your own. Once you have that key, then you can use it in here as your key, because there is, for each and every application, there is a key, or each user, or actually each owner of the Google account has its own key. So don't use my key with your application, or I cannot use your API key with my application. So this thing, the API key, you need to get it on your own. Now once we have done this, that means we have got what is important. We have got the latitude and the longitude. Now what we will do, that we will talk about in the next video. Thank you very much. I hope if you have got any benefit, please hit the like button and do subscribe to my channel to support me. Thank you very much.